So imagine this, you are home alone one dark, stormy night, hanging out on the couch when you hear 3 faint knocks on your front door. So you open it. Why did you do that? And you're met with 2 small children staring at the ground asking to use the phone. You can't see their faces, but you notice their clothes are outdated and a little dirty. So you agree to let them in. Again, why did you do that? And they finally look up at you, and that's when you realize their eyes are completely black. What would you do? Just hypothetically. Real quick, in case you're new here, hi, my name's Chess, and this is Spooky Stuff, where for the whole month of October, you and me talk about creepy paranormal stories and urban legends. Now, I normally do strange stuff where we talk about conspiracies that are normally centered around strange places, but I thought it'd be fun to mix it up, you know, for the spooky times. So today we are talking about the legend of the black-eyed kids. There is dust in the air. Who are they? What are they really? And what do they want? And I'm gonna do my eye makeup while I regale you with these tales. So some quick PSAs, everything that I'm using is gonna be down there. Also, all of this is for fun, for entertainment. None of these stories are proven true unless stated otherwise, but honestly, who knows what the truth is? Certainly not me. Now, without further rambling, let's get on to the black-eyed kids. So the story originated in the late 90s, 1996 to be exact, when a Texas reporter named Brian Bethel wrote about an experience that he himself had with the black-eyed kids. So he says that one spring night in 1996, he stopped at a movie theater parking lot in Abilene, Texas. Is it Abilene? Abilene, Texas, to write a check to pay his internet bill. So I guess the idea was he was using the light from the theater to write the check, and then he was gonna go put it in the drop-off box. But only a few seconds after he pulled up, 2 boys, roughly around the ages of 9 to 12, just appeared at his driver's side window and tapped on the glass. And apparently Brian hadn't even seen them approach, which, I mean, if you're writing a check, you're looking down, like that checks out, but he says that he hadn't even started writing yet. So according to him, he had pulled up, put the car in park, grabbed his checkbook, looked up, and there they were. Anyway, so he says that he cracked the window a little bit, bad idea, and was instantly overcome with what he would call a soul-racking fear. Could be that these 2 creeps just appeared out of nowhere outside of your car, but what do I know? So at this point, the taller boy speaks, and he says that he and his little brother, the smaller one, they wanted to go watch a movie at the theater that they were in the parking lot of, but they had left the money at home, so they asked Brian if he could give them a ride back to their house to go get the money. And they... Listen, okay, they told him that it wouldn't take very long, and they were just 2 kids. They didn't have a gun. Like, where did that come from? That sounds like the kind of thing you would say if you absolutely had a gun. Now, at this point, Brian is pretty freaked out, duh, and would later say that he felt hunted, like some sort of prey. But he also said that the kid's speech was way too eloquent for a child. He used the word practiced, and it was almost hypnotic. He even said that this kid could sell a car. I am fighting for my life with this black eyeshadow, just so you know. So Brian asked about the movie that they wanted to see, and he told them that the last showing had already started and would probably be nearly over by the time they could get anywhere and back. And when he broke eye contact and looked back at them, that's when he realized that their eyes were completely black, and he said his fear became all-encompassing. And he describes it as an internal cold and says that that's when he realized he was in the presence of something otherworldly. I don't know if I would like that. Like, I want to think that I want to have some sort of experience like that, but if I did, I wouldn't know how to act. Now, the taller boy started to become frustrated, impatient, and the smaller boy told Brian that they can't get in the car unless he says it's okay. Which, like, it kind of seems like he doesn't want you to, so maybe take the hint. Now, at this point, Brian starts to make excuses to leave, like, sorry, left a lame excuse at home, gotta go, and he starts rolling up the window. And the taller boy, he does not like this. He flips out, he starts pounding on the glass so hard, Brian thought he was gonna break it. So Brian panics, as you do. He stumped on the gas, he tore out of the parking lot, but when he looked in his rearview mirror, he didn't see anything. The two kids had just vanished without a trace. And the thing is, he had described it as a wide open parking lot with nearly zero cars, because I mean, it was at nighttime. So there's no way they could have hidden or whatever that quickly. To this day, Brian still thinks he was, quote, a razor's edge away from death. Sounds like it, TBH. And when he's asked about whether or not he made this story up, he says that he's a pro-journalist, which is true, and this is exactly the kind of thing that could hurt his career rather than help it. Which, I mean, that tracks, really. And listen, okay, I know sites like Creepypasta and Reddit in general have made it so easy to start these big, creepy urban legends and make them go viral, like Slender Man, whatever, but we have to remember his story predates all of those. So that was the first reported story of the black-eyed kids, and since Brian's story became well known, a lot of other people have started coming forward with their stories dating as early as 1950 and spanning multiple countries. I feel like it's so much creepier because they're kids, you know, like black-eyed adults, whatever, but the fact that they're kids makes it so much creepier to me, and I don't know why. So we are going to wander on to Vermont on a quiet, snowy evening in 2016, where an elderly couple were relaxing at home with their cats when they heard 3 knocks on their front door, and they weren't expecting anyone, so they were a little confused. So they opened the door, and there are 2 young children there, a boy and a girl, and they're just standing there with their heads down like this, staring at the ground, and they are severely underdressed for the weather, because, you know, it's coming a blizzard. So the boy speaks, and very directly he says, "Parents will be here soon, may we come in?" Like, I'm sorry, but no. No. Now, the couple were hesitant, as you would be, but they didn't want to just leave these kids out in the cold, so they let them in, which would be a certified mistake. So the kids come in, and they sit on the couch while the wife goes to the kitchen to make the kids some hot chocolate. And the kids are still just staring at the ground like this, so the husband is trying to ask them some questions, but they don't react at all. So the wife comes back into the room with the hot chocolate and realizes that her poor cat is freaking out. Now, the cat is usually very sweet, not like this one. I know, I'm kidding. You are sweet. You just don't like being held. You have your boundaries. That's okay. Anyway, the cat is usually really sweet and friendly to guests, but this time the cat is visibly scared and hiding under a table, just growling at the kids. And free sag, they say animals can sense things before humans do, so I think that tracks. Poor kitty. So the wife goes to hand the kids the hot chocolate, but when she does, they look up and that's when she sees their eyes. And they are pitch black, like soulless dark orbs, and have no whites at all. If we could all just collectively ignore the glitter fallout, that'd be great. So the boy looks at her, realizing that she's pants-crappingly terrified, and he calmly asks, "May we use the restroom?" So the wife shows the kids to the bathroom, and when she comes back, her husband is covering his face with his hand. And she asks him, like, "Hey, did you see their eyes?" And he pulls his hand away from his face, and it is full of blood from a nosebleed. And all of a sudden, the power shuts off. The house is completely dark, which is exactly what you want when you have these little weirdos in there. And glitter all over my shirt. So the poor wife is just stumbling around in her pitch black house trying to get to the bathroom to get her husband some tissues for his nosebleed. And at this point, the kids announce in perfect unison, by the way, "Our parents are here." And they walk past the wife, out the door, leaving it wide open, by the way, for some reason, like rude. It's not like it's snowing or anything. And the wife watches as the kids walk down the driveway to 2 very tall, very slender men in black suits, which to me sounds like the Men in Black. Just an observation. So she waved at the men and they didn't react at all, just got in the car with the 2 kids and drove away. The power came back on shortly after the kids left, but things would be far from back to normal. Over the course of the next week, 3 of their 4 cats would go missing, and the husband would continue to have severe nosebleeds until he finally went to the doctor and was diagnosed with severe skin cancer. And the wife also suffered nosebleeds, dizzy spells, and other medical conditions that she refuses to disclose. And that is a lot for 1 week. Ugh. And she's convinced that all of the issues they're having is the result of some sort of curse that the black-eyed kids put on them. Which I can't really blame her, really. Jeez. Poor them. Poor cats. So our last story comes all the way from British Columbia, where one night a reclusive man decided to go see a horror movie at the local theater by himself. Which sounds like the opposite of reclusive to me, little self-date. I think it's nice. Anyway, so he's at home later that evening relaxing in his chair, and he's already kind of on edge from the scary movie he watched earlier. And I would be too. It takes me a hot minute to settle down after a good scary movie, and especially at night, Jesus, take the freaking wheel. So he just about jumped out of his skin when he heard those 3 knocks at the door. So he gets up, he starts walking towards the door, and with every step closer, he could feel the dread just creeping up his spine. Sounds like the perfect time to maybe not open the door, but it didn't matter because something was compelling him to open that door. And when he did, he came face to face with a beautiful teenage-ish girl with long, pretty blonde hair. But again, when she looked up at him, her eyes were solid black. And she asked him again very calmly, "May I enter the premises?" And he had, I think, the most sensible reaction because he screamed and slammed the door in her face. Same. So then he went to his bedroom, grabbed a gun, and sat in his corner chair until morning. I'm rolling that the wrong way. So the next morning, he went out to get the mail, and she was nowhere to be found, thank God. But the word "soon" was scratched into his front door exactly where she had been standing. And that's a threat. So in closing, what are these kids? Are they ghosts? Are they aliens? Are they vampires? Well, some demonologists, which is the thing I just learned about, believe that they're the children of Satan himself. And if you let them in, you're letting the devil in. I don't know, the Men in Black in the Vermont story makes me think aliens, but they have to be invited in like vampires. So maybe vampire alien babies? Maybe? Stranger things have happened. But either way, it's said that the black-eyed kids mostly target people who already know about the legend, and since that's you now, you're welcome. I would keep a watchful eye out this Halloween, and if you see any little trick-or-treaters staring at the ground for just a little bit too long, don't let them in. Anyway, that is all we have for today. Lucky, come on! Honestly, the black-eyed kids story is one that just sticks with me and creeps me out the absolute most. Because again, they're kids, and I'm so sorry, but kids creep me out. Just in general. Anyways, thank you for coming over, and if you have any story ideas, please feel free to comment them so I can see what you want to see, and with that, I will see you next week. Bye!